And if you select the text, you can then choose the font you'd like to use, the size, and if you click this small little square on the right, you can choose the color. So maybe I want my first name and last name to be different colors, so I selected my last name here. I'll click the little square and I'll make my last name red. Draw more attention to it. But you do have to select the text before you make changes to these, otherwise it's not going to affect things. You'll be affecting like the space bar that you have at the end of your name or something instead of the whole thing. On the right side, you can also affect the way that the various modules look, changing their font and size. So if you want them to be smaller, so they take up less space, or you just want them to visually look the same as whatever you have in your identity plate. If you have a logo that you'd like to use, just choose a choice up here called Use a Graphical Identity Plate. Click there, and then you can either drag an image from your desktop to this area, or if you've copied it from maybe Photoshop, you can paste it in here. But for now, I'm going to stick to text. All I need to do to get that area customized is to turn on this checkbox to enable this identity plate. And I can also come in here and save it so that if I want to use it in other parts of Lightroom, like in my slideshow, where it might show up at the beginning or end of the slideshow, I'll just give it a name here, and then certain features within Lightroom will ask if I want to use my identity plate, and then I'll be able to reference it based on its name that I gave it. And then I'll just click OK. And now it's replaced the word Lightroom up there with my name, or it could be my studio logo, or whatever you'd like to use. But again, that's going to come in not just for this little area, but for other features we use later on. Remember to get to it, go to the Lightroom menu, and choose Identity Plate Setup. Another thing that I like to set up to make things a little easier is when I import my photographs, I like it to tag all my photographs with copyright information, so that if I ever export my images and let's say I upload them to Facebook or to anything else, I make sure that I have a copyright on it and I have contact information. So if somebody happens to run across one of my images, they want to use them for a magazine article or something else, they're able to look into that image at the metadata and find my contact info and know that the image is copyrighted. So let's get one of those set up as well. Then we'll move on to organizing our images. If I go to the metadata menu up here, you find many different choices, but halfway down will be Edit Metadata Presets. Edit Metadata Presets. If I choose that, this comes up, and there's a whole bunch of information that's in here. A lot of the information that's in here is not something you'd want to apply to every image. If you expand some of these areas, you'll find things like information about models that might have been in a shoot, so you can keep track of who they were, if you have a model release, and so on. But that would be specific to an individual image, not to every image I import. So I'm going to ignore most of these areas and concentrate on this area called IPTC Copyright. This is where I want to fill in my information of my copyright. I did the copyright symbol, which on a Mac I believe is Option G. On Windows, I'm not sure. Just Google it, and I'm sure you can find it pretty quick. And then I put my name. I set this as copyrighted instead of being in the public domain or unknown. And then I typed in all rights reserved, so people know they don't have any rights automatically. Some people use a website called Creative Commons. If you look at that website, there are simplified usage rights that you can adopt that makes it rather nice and easy, where you can say you're welcome to use these images as long as you give me credit in your project, that kind of thing. It can get your name out there in many different ways for people using it. But in this case, I'm putting all rights are reserved. And then there's a copyright info URL. If you were to create a special page on your website that talks about your copyright, that has the terms of your copyright and that type of information, you could put it here. So anyway, I'm just going to put that information in. Then I'm going to go to the top menu up here, and I'm going to say Save Current Settings as a new preset. And I'm just kind of, did that say 2009? It does. We changed that to 2013. Then I'm going to save the current preset up here at the top, and I'll just put in the copyright symbol. Just give it a short name, and I'm going to click Create. Once I've done that, I'm going to hit the Done button. And now, anytime I go to import my photographs in the future,